وقل الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا اله الا الله الله اكبر الله اكبر الله اكبر ولا حول ولا قوة ولا حول ولا قوة ولا حول ولا قوة. You indulge my spirituality. That is how I start every public opportunity I have to speak. Bear with me if you are not a Muslim. All I simply said in Arabic is that God, you are the greatest. And all honor, all adoration, all obeisance belong to you. I titled this report of the state of affairs of the ADC, which I'm statutorily required to give. At this convention, ADC is unstoppable. ADC is unstoppable. It is the son of Nigeria. ADC is unstoppable because it's the son of Nigeria. That's the title of this report. I'm statutorily required of me to give here. Having expressed my own appreciation of the Almighty, I recognize the chairman of our party, Senator David Mark, all our leaders, dignitaries, members of the National Working Committee, members of the National Executive Committee, chairman and members of the Convention Planning Committee and the subcommittees. As I do recognize and welcome all delegates to this historic occasion. As the chairman said, it's not just the 2026 convention of the party. It's the 8th convention of the African Democratic Congress. We're here today. Please, pardon me. I recognize all our diplomats who are here. Chinese diplomats who had come, had to leave because of some certain delays we had to commence this program. I recognize the British envoy that is here. I recognize all the others who had indicated desires to be here. They are now watching us at their various residences. We appreciate you and we recognize you. We are here today holding the 8th National Convention of the African Democratic Congress. Despite all desperate attempts of the ruling party and the anti-democratic forces, including the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), to emasculate our party. Just as no power can stop the sun from rising, so can the ADC not be stopped. At no other time in our history as a country has the moral compass been so shamelessly been bent as it is today. People who deliberately split the People's Democratic Party, the Labour Party, are today being forcibly robbed as political strategists. Since when has criminality become a strategy? The ADC does not and will never owe its existence to any individual or group, including an electoral body masquerading as a neutral umpire with its leadership. markedly robed in the attire of a political partisanship. The ADC derives its existence from the aspirations and will of the Nigerian people who are tired of the deceit and colossal mismanagement to which this country is being subjugated. We owe our existence to the Nigerian Constitution, which declares that freedom of association, including that to form or belong to any political party, is guaranteed and is a fundamental right. We are here because the ADC is on a rescue mission to prise the country from the strangulating grasp of the ruling party. The APC is a party which has foisted on the country an electoral law that states forgery and making false claims in electoral documents is no longer a punishable electoral offense. In other words, the ruling party is criminalizing criminality. We proclaim our existence because our country is worth all necessary sacrifices. We cannot allow kakistocracy in Nigeria. We cannot allow kakistocracy in Nigeria. The government's claim that the recent reduction in the exchange rate shows its mastery of economics. This is false. In truth, the exchange rate, which was about 700 naira to the dollar at the open market, not the official, at the open market, when this government assumed office in 2023, is now about 1,400. This amounts to a 100% devaluation in an import-dependent economy. This is terribly devastating. The cost of a liter of fuel was before this administration between 185 and 238 naira, depending on the part of the country you are. Now it is about 1,400 per liter and still rising. Cost of transportation is now so prohibitive that it has become unrealistic for some workers to go to work. The administration told Nigerians that if it does not solve the power problem by providing current constant power supply, it should not be. Today, power supply is far worse, with some parts of the country receiving an average of 2 hours daily, and some being in darkness for a stretch of weeks and months. Ordinarily, having made such a promise and failed woefully, an honest president should simply step down and not seek re-election. ADC! Nice. Rather, what we are witnessing is the most desperate attempt by a candidate in the Nigerian electoral history to retain power at all costs, even if it means bringing down the entire democratic system. Distinguished delegates and our rival leaders, 4 years ago, this government promised Nigerians renewed hope. Now, 3 years into its 4-year term or tenure, it is still promising renewed hope. When exactly will this hope come into fruition? The answer is simple. It is a scam. The answer is what? A scam. If allowed, this regime will continue chanting renewed hope to eternity. We have the duty to stop scammers from retaining power. ADC! Arise! We have the duty to stop these scammers from retaining power. ADC! Arise! As for education, the number of out-of-school children we used to be 18.3 million has lengthened to some 20 million. Equally, far more children, due to neglect and inability of their parents to take care of them, are being railroaded by the government into extreme poverty and criminality. Today, 130 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. 130 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. Let us all shout shame. Once again, shame. Once again, shame. Delegates and leaders, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the worst time in terms of security in the nation, with banditry and terrorism spreading across the country. But also worrying is the marked lack of empathy by the rudderless presidency. After the 2025 Yewata massacres in Benue State, the president supposedly on a condolence ship did not visit the affected community. Rather, he held court in the Benue State government house and returned thereafter to safety in Abuja. Again, in 2026, after the Angua Rukuba killings in Jos, rather than visit the affected community, the president stayed put at the Jos airport, which is 40 minutes drive from the city, and had the surviving victims and families brought to him, and was even quoted to have said that he must leave urgently because there will be no power supply at the airport. Once again, shout shame! Distinguished delegates, the country is in dire straits, and we cannot allow this continued drift into hopelessness. This is why, as was pointed out earlier, the ADC is on a rescue mission. On this, there is no time to spare. We call on all conscientious citizens to join us, because a fence sitter in moments like this that require decisiveness is either a traitor or a collaborator with those who seek to destroy our country. Our party, the African Democratic Congress ADC, has within 9 months of its July 2, 2025 unveiling in Abuja, transformed into the main opposition party in Nigeria. It has also become the minority party in the National Assembly. Clap for ourselves. Let's clap for ourselves. As well as the hope of the Nigerian people for their liberation from the clutches of the ruling party. We have spent the last 9 months consolidating our structures across the country and repositioning for the patriotic duty of providing leadership for our country by the grace of God in 2027. The path of the new ADC. It is necessary to explain to our party members and the generality of Nigerian people the process that led to the birth of the new ADC. On March 27, 2025, the ADC National Executive Congress (NEC) met at the party's national headquarters in Abuja. The meeting, among other matters, decided to waive the provisions of Articles 9.3, subsection 1, 2, and 3, and Articles 9.4, subsection 1, on eligibility to hold party position and contest election. The then ADC National Legal Advisor, Peter Oyewole, Esquire, moved the motion for the waiver of which was passed. I want newsmen to follow this very, very keenly. With what I'm going to say, you will now know why. Nobody has any locus at all to challenge the emergence of the leadership of Senator David Mark. Nobody. If you listen carefully to this, This meeting was observed, that INEC meeting was observed by INEC officials. Also, that INEC meeting was observed by INEC officials. Also, the party sent the report of NEC, The party sent the report of the NEC meeting to the chairman of INEC in a letter dated April 3, 2025, which was acknowledged by the office of the INEC chairman on April 4, 2025. Then on May 15, 2025, another NEC meeting was held at Chelsea Hotel, CBD Abuja. This meeting decided to 1. Suspend Article 23, subsection 4 of the party's constitution, which could prevent assumption of vacant offices by merit. 2. Mandate and empower the national chairman, Chief Rauf Aregbesola, and the NWC to take all necessary actions, make requisite decisions, and engage relevant stakeholders to ensure the successful formation, coordination, and execution of the coalition in line with the vision and objectives of the party. The resolutions were unanimously passed and adopted by the meeting. In both his opening and closing remarks, Chief Nwosu emphasized the objectives of the party as a vehicle for deepening and consolidating democracy, advancing Nigeria, uplifting the people, and edifying the black race. The report of the meeting, that NEC meeting of May 15, was communicated to the chairman of INEC in a letter dated May 21, 2025. That letter was acknowledged by INEC on May 30, 2025. The NWC that was empowered by May 15 NEC, following the NWC, following the order of NEC of May 15, 2025, cited above, met on July 2, 2025, and passed the following resolutions. 1. Constitution of a caretaker committee to manage the affairs of the party in light of the coalition process and internal restructuring. 2. Composition, appointment of people to the caretaker committee or interim national working committee to include Senator David Mark, caretaker national chairman, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, caretaker national secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, caretaker national police secretary, and other members. The caretaker committee is to manage the affairs of the party for a minimum period of 12 months, unless otherwise decided by the National Convention. All that I'm reading to you are copied from the resolution and minutes of those meetings. On July 29, 2025, the NEC of the party again met at Chelsea Hotel, CBD, Abuja, and made the following decisions among others. A. Ratification of the NWC resolutions and constitution of a caretaker committee to manage the affairs of the party in light of the coalition process and internal restructuring. B. Approval of the composition and appointment of people to the caretaker committee, which included Senator David Mark, interim national chairman, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, interim national secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, interim national police secretary, and all other additional members. The national chairman, Chief Rauf Aregbesola, and national secretary, Alhaji Saidu Baba Abdullahi, were mandated to immediately notify INEC of the changes in the party's leadership. C. Dissolution of the NWC with immediate effect. Please, this is important to note. I've mentioned A, I've mentioned B. The C resolution at that NEC was the dissolution of the National Working Committee led by Chief Rauf Aregbesola immediately. Dissolution of the NWC with immediate effect, and its replacement with caretaker committee which has the full responsibility of overseeing the party affairs pending the next convention. C. D. Approval of various committees proposed by the outgoing NWC to support the caretaker committee during the transition period. D. Swearing in of the caretaker committee. The new executive of the party will administer oaths of office by competent people at that NEC, attended by virtually all members of the NEC, including NWC. Following the adoption of the motions and ratification of the caretaker committee members by the ADC NEC, members were sworn into their various offices and necessary oath of office were administered. The entire process, ADC,
arise!
ADC,
Arise!
ADC,
Arise and shine, Nigeria!
The entire process was observed by INEC officials and NEC members without any objection. The report of this NEC meeting was submitted to INEC by Chief Rauf Aregbesola and Alhaji Seidu Baba Abdullahi. It was on this basis that INEC recognized the new leadership and uploaded the principal officers on his electronic portal. From the foregoing, the former national chairman, Chief Rauf Aregbesola, and the entire NWC were legitimately dissolved by the NEC of July 29, 2025, in accordance with the constitution of the party. No member, I repeat, no member of the former NWC of ADC therefore has any right or claim to any office thereafter. A dead horse cannot rise again. Such claim is superfluous and of no effect whatsoever. And I think Nigerian media will take reasonable cue from this. No member of that NWC has any right at all to any office, because the body on which any office in that former NWC was premised has been dissolved, as evaporated. Legal basis for this 8th ADC National Convention. It is our position that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, being a creation of law, has a duty to abide by the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, and all other laws of the Federation, especially the clear provision of the Electoral Act 2026. The duty of attending and monitoring congresses and convention of political parties is a mandatory one imposed on INEC by the Electoral Act 2026. INEC has no option on its attendance of any congress and convention to which is legitimately invited. This duty is as stated in Section 82, Subsection 3 of the Electoral Act. Is mandatory and not discriminatory or discretionary. No, it's mandatory. Section 82, Subsection 3 of the Electoral Act 2026 states, and I read, I'm quoting that section, Section 82, Section 3 of the 2026 Electoral Act states, the Commission, with or without prior notice of the political party, shall, in capital letters, shall attend and observe any convention, congress, conference, meeting which is convened by a political party for the purpose of A, electing members of executive committees or other governing bodies, B, electing candidates for an election at any level, and C, approving a merger with any registered political party. End of quote. The only duty required of our party, ADC, as a political party, is to give 21-day notice of its congresses or convention to INEC in accordance with Section 81, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2026. The ADC gave INEC the required 21 days notice through a December 2025 letter, which was acquired by INEC, and we kept on reminding INEC. But I have a copy of the last letter we wrote to INEC. This letter was written by me on March 10, submitted, and was acknowledged by INEC cameramen. INEC acknowledged my notification letter to INEC of all our congresses and convention on 13th of March 2026. 13th of March 2026. 13th of March 2026. I wrote this letter personally. The letter was signed by the chairman and myself. It was delivered on the 12th or thereabout, but it was acknowledged by INEC on the 13th of March 2026. The only duty
Can we give the National Secretary a round of applause? That is the voice of Rauf Aregbesola.
Dino, I'm in Abuja. The only duty required of the ADC as a political party is to give a 21-day notice of its congresses and convention to INEC in accordance with Section 81, subsection 1 and 2 of the Electoral Act 2026. The ADC gave INEC the required 21 days notice since December 2025, which was acknowledged by INEC as a party, and we have been renewing that notice. The last one was the one I gave, and it was acknowledged by INEC on the date I showed you, 13th of March. 13th of April, sorry, 13th of April. 13th of March, I'm right, 13th of March. I'm right, 13th of March. As a party, we have discharged the responsibility required of us. And at this point, it is the duty of INEC to equally discharge his own constitutionally and lawfully assigned responsibility by attending and monitoring this convention. It's a duty. INEC, having failed to meet his lawful duty, is hereby declared a criminal and illegal organization. The decision of INEC to refuse to attend and monitor our convention amounts to dereliction of duty, bordering on a dangerously partisan outlook aimed at unlawfully delegitimizing the otherwise legitimate actions of our party, the ADC. The only condition that will warrant a congress or convention of a party to be invalid is contained in Section 82, subsection 6 of the Electoral Act 2026. And I'm quoting, I want to quote. That section states, failure of a party to notify the commission as stated in Section 1 and 2 shall render the primaries, convention, congress, and conferences invalid, end of quote. I am almost forgetting. We are equally required to supply INEC in advance with the list of committees to conduct the congresses and convention. And we are equally required by the law to give to INEC soft and hard copies of the registers of our members to INEC 21 days before then. So on the 17th of March, we met all the conditions, This is the second letter conveying that. The letter was written by me, signed by the chairman and myself on the 16th, delivered and acknowledged by INEC on the 17th of March. This is it. Media, capture it. So INEC has no hiding place. Since ADC has already given the required notice, as stated in section 82, subsection 1 and 2, there is no other legitimate ground that INEC can rely on to refuse monitoring our convention, except if INEC, as it has become apparent, is on a voyage to destroy ADC, to pave way for APC to coast to victory without any serious challenge. I didn't know that the order of the Court of Appeal, who did not make any reference to attending and monitoring ADC convention, amounts to INEC assuming the role of a court, which is not. We wish to remind INEC that ADC remains a registered political party with registered members and structure from the polling unit level up to the national level. ADC has not been proscribed by any law in Nigeria or court order. It therefore has the right to continue to undertake its legitimate functions under the law. We are seriously concerned with the attitude of INEC treating the ADC as a party that has been proscribed and therefore does not exist. It is false, it is wrong, it is unconstitutional, it is bad. ADC!
Arise!
ADC!
Arise!
ADNC!
Arise and shine, Nigeria.
Let's freshen a bit. ADC, now we be yoga. ADC, now we be yoga. All other party now so yeah. All other party now so yeah. All other parties now so yeah. All other parties now so mumu. Thank you. This is APC come on for road to ADC na bulldozer. You no get break APC na bulldozer. Na bulldozer. Thank you. Yeah.
Wallahi, so energy then. I like his energy.
We wish to once again draw INEC's attention to the fact that the steps they have taken to remove the names of our officers from his portal and subsequent refusal to attend and monitor ADC's convention taking place here today, purportedly relying on the ruling of the Court of Appeal, is a deliberate conjecture that was neither stated in the Court of Appeal's ruling nor contemplated by it. This conjecture is made solely to deny ADC's right to undertake statutory functions and legitimize his actions in order to pave way for APC to go into 2027 election without any credible challenge from the only opposition party that is capable of defeating APC at the polls in 2027. So far, ADC is the largest and most robust grassroots political party in opposition in Nigeria.
Yes.
Populated by major political gladiators who are poised to defeat the APC in the next round of election. It is obvious that the APC is jittery in spite of its boasting of having 31 governors in their party. INEC has become a willing accomplice of the APC's government and has embarked on a diabolical asset job of ensuring that APC is the only party on the ballot paper come 2027. Our party will use all legitimate means to resist this. ADC,
Arise!
are we ready or not?
We are ready!
Once again, are we ready or not?
We are ready!
Are we ready or not?
We are ready!
We hereby call on the international community and all patriots to take special interest in the evolving anti-democratic actions of the APC, and more particularly, INEC's abandonment of its role as an unbiased, neutral umpire. Nigeria has gone through similar anti-democratic plots from some governments in the past, and Nigerians stood up to them, and those plots collapsed into a pack of cards. This attempt to, as initiated by APC and fueled by INEC, will collapse like a pile of cards, and Nigerians will take back their country. National Secretariat. The ADC on November 17, 2025, opened and moved to its new headquarters at 21 Adetokunbo Ademola Crescent, Wuse 2, Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. It has since become a beehive of activities from which the party's rescue mission is being coordinated. Constitution review. The constitution of the ADC has been reviewed with buy-in not only from the members of the party, but also from the general public, whose mandate ADC seeks in various elections. In this, we aim to advance some of our core values, including being inclusive, receptive, and representative. The review also aims at strengthening internal democracy, enhancing accountability, and empowering youth, women, and the physically challenged, and the elderly. The reviewed constitution is hereby presented to the National Convention for ratification, approval, and adoption. The legal team will do the needful on that. Membership mobilization, revalidation, and registration. The party has been engaged in a massive membership mobilization, revalidation, and registration drive. This was launched formally on February 12, 2026. It is a hybrid program combining physical and electronic registration, which the proviso that all those registering or revalidating their members must register their names in the world registers provided by the party. ADC policy and manifesto. The party also finalized its policy and manifesto, which are designed to represent the aspirations of the various segments of the populace and ensure a service delivery to the Nigerian people. The Policy and Manifesto Committee submitted its report to the party on Tuesday, March 17, 2026. This has been presented to NWC and NEC, which have approved it, and it is hereby presented to the National Convention for ratification. Legal committee will take care of that. Election and primaries. Our party participated in the November 25 Anambra State gubernatorial elections and the February 26 Federal Capital Territory local government elections. We were not victorious for various reasons, including the fact that our opponents employed the power of incumbency, monetization of the electoral process, and misuse of state power. On our side, we suffered from poor funding and the general non-readiness of our emerging structures. However, we have learned from these lessons and are ready for the Ekiti, for the forthcoming Ekiti and Osun State's gubernatorial elections. Multi-party summit. Our party has had talks with various political parties in the country that share its vision of a new country built on welfare and security of its citizens and social justice for all. These include the People's Democratic Party, the ones being led by Turaki, the Social Democratic Party, SDP, the New Nigeria People's Party, NPP, and the People's Election Party. A follow-up joint press conference of opposition party was held in Abuja on February 26, 2026. The theme of that conference was the state of the nation. A multi-party summit is being planned for a broader engagement of all opposition parties on the imperative of a united opposition front for the 2027 election. Persecution of opposition. Persecution of opposition. It is very sad and disheartening that the ruling party and its administration has resorted. It is very sad and disheartening that the ruling party and its administration has resorted to cheap blackmail and discriminatory persecution of opposition politicians and personalities. State agencies such as the EFCC, ICPC, DSS, NPF, etc., have been weaponized against the opposition and their members. Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Mr. Jimmy Lawal are languishing in ICPC detention on bailable offenses. Senator Waziri Aminu Tambua and Abubakar Malami San are being aroused with charges and asset forfeiture. Scores of other prominent politicians are being scared with incriminating threats, charges, and crimes for either fraternizing with the opposition or planning to join the opposition. The list is endless. It has become a crime in Nigeria to be in the opposition or contemplating joining the opposition. Whereas these people, the people who are doing this in the current administration, claim to be protegees of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, a foremost principled opposition leader in Nigeria. It is doubtful if this claim can be justified in light of their acts in government. It is important to remind them of the philosophy of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Awolowo defined opposition as an ideological, and I'm quoting him. Awolowo defined opposition as an ideological, and I quote, institutional conscience of the republic, end of quote. That was a quote from Awolowo's comment and statement in his book, Thought on the Nigerian Constitution. He said opposition is the institutional conscience of the republic. A democracy without opposition is an autocracy. vibrant, principled, and determined opposition is the heart and soul of democracy. Nigeria must be a virile, multi-party democracy and must remain a republic. Nigeria must remain a republic. We say boldly and clearly, no coronation. Let's repeat. No coronation. No coronation. No coronation. No coronation. No coronation. No coronation in Nigeria.
No coronation.
Nigeria will not tolerate a cabinet in Aso Rock. We're a republic. We're a republic. Congresses and national convention. Don't panic. I'm rounding up. I'm giving the state affairs of the party. Congresses and national convention. The ADC polling unit, ward and local government congresses up to were held on Thursday, April 9, 2026. The state congresses were held on Saturday, April 11, 2026. The national convention is holding now and today, Tuesday, April 14, 2026. The theme of this convention, as stated by the Chairman National Planning Committee, is so Nigeria will work for freedom, for security, and for prosperity. All these dates, timelines, and reports were in accordance with the party constitution ratified at the National Executive Committee meeting held on 25th of March 2026 in Abuja. Distinguished delegates, it is those who dare to stand up for principles that win. We dare to stand up. So victory will be ours by the grace of God and that of the Nigerian people. I welcome you all. As I say, APC come on for road, ADC now bulldozer. You know, get break you.
Thank you. That was the epistle according to Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. Please, he deserves another rousing applause. And I want to particularly appreciate him for spending. So please, that's okay. You need to I want to particularly appreciate Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola that despite